Yeah, so I was sitting back, just observing a couple of things, and I realized, I said, hold on. A lot of people claiming this Canelo fight is gonna happen now. Bro, we been said this fight was gonna happen. That's what's kind of throwing me off right now. I thought we had it understood last year that this fight was gonna happen. We still have people trying to figure out if it's gonna happen or not. Yeah, it's gonna happen. I've been telling people for years, hey, the fight gonna happen. The fans been the ones trying to shoot it down, like give out reasons why it shouldn't happen. That's why I said I never heard nothing like that before. Canelo was always interested in fighting Terence Crawford. Let's get that understood. The internet is the ones who had a problem with it. I've been saying from day one, Canelo has always been interested in fighting Terence Crawford. That's nothing new. The fight getting announced or being official, it don't never change that. That's why I say everybody be getting stuff. The narratives just take over, and it's, you know what I'm saying? They don't even listen to what Canelo says. It doesn't make sense to me. Canelo always said, Terence Crawford, a great fighter. Yeah, I'd be interested in fighting him. Said it like 2 years ago. That's why I said during the Charlo, and you know, if you take the dates on these, I'm like, okay. This is before Canelo fought Charlo. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, Canelo versus Crawford, I can see that happening. I was like, I can see that happening. Now, mind you, this is an old video I did that's on the screen. This video I did, what, 2023, September, before he fought Charlo. Everybody was okay with Errol Spence fighting Canelo, but they want to block Crawford mega fights. So this is around the time where people was like, it was like little commotion about him fighting Canelo. Not really. It was like the diehard boxing fans was kind of arguing about it. You know, casuals was like still arguing about whether Crawford was big enough to fight Charlo. Like that was the main conversation that was going on around that time. Around that time, they was talking about that, and they was talking about Frank Martin and Shakur Stevenson, and Shakur and Devin Haney. But that's the main thing they was talking about. And I was like, Charlo too big for Crawford. I was like, what? That's when I knew then. I said, bro, I know these dudes, they don't think Crawford gonna get in the ring with Canelo or something. And did Crawford say he was getting in the ring with Canelo around that time? No, he didn't say that. But the fact that nobody thought he was good enough to, or then mix in the fact they thought it wouldn't happen. And this was like right when Turkey Al-Sheikh was starting to make his moves. So he wasn't making them yet. So it wasn't word on where the money can come from. That was kind of holding it back. But if you look now, the money was holding it back. Now the money is there. Now what's happening? But the stuff I was hearing last year from most people talking about, oh, well, he's too small and this, and look at his last fight. It went 12 rounds. Man, come on, man. That was the most casual conversation I ever heard in my life. That's going in history as one of the worst narratives ever said in boxing. I hope everybody know that. That's gonna go down as one of the worst narratives. It's a couple of them that was said last year that's gonna go down as one of the worst in boxing. That's one of them. He too small for Charlo. That's gonna go bad. That's going down very bad in history. He go out here and stop Canelo. That's what I'm saying. People for all them narratives, they put pressure on Canelo now. He go out there and stop Canelo. What's gonna happen now? We're gonna go from people saying he ain't have no power at 154. People already thought the fight wasn't gonna happen. So we already know the predictions is gonna be all over the place. That's what I'm saying. We have people not even thinking it was gonna happen. Like how and why? A lot of people thought Canelo ain't got enough respect for him. He don't think he that good. He don't think he that big. The size of difference. When I heard the size and stuff though, that was kind of an idea like, oh, people know how good Terence Crawford is. Cause they don't say this about nobody else. Yeah, his power was already getting questioned. But I told them years ago, boom, I had said this, and what is some? Because somebody had said today when I was talking about Jake Paul and Canelo, bro. First of all the big fights that have happened, I didn't announce them fights way before people have announced them. I was talking about Terence Crawford and Canelo every day in 2023. Look, another video I made in 2023 about Canelo and Crawford. If no Canelo or big fights, Terence Crawford will retire. He was already planning to do so. October 10th, 2023. Man, stop it, bro. For real. Stop it. Some dude talking about oh, you just posted about Canelo and Jake Paul. Man, please. It ain't no clickbait on these channels. So for anybody who want to know if I know what I'm talking about, check the date. Been talking about Crawford and Canelo. I ain't even talking about when I was announcing that they was talking about it. That's early too. I said if he don't get the Canelo fight, he gone. He out of there. Or big fights. So while other people think the fight with Majramal wasn't a big fight, if Majramal run the table at 54, it'll be a big fight then. So it was a big fight. To me, it was a big fight. I'm talking about to other people, then it would be a big fight. But I already knew he was talking about retiring. When nobody calling him out around this time, we didn't hear no noise from anybody. He been calling guys out. He gonna go from being the most. At one point, he was one of the most disrespected boxers. I was hearing some disrespectful stuff, and then people was reaching after he won against Spence. So, but at one point, he was one of the most disrespected boxers. I'm talking about saying he ain't fought nobody, no resume, and just he can't make it at 147. Think about it, dude was undisputed, and they talking about he ain't gonna be able to make it at 147. Crazy, like. I don't understand it. They want everybody to forget that they was talking like that. Nah. So when people who was talking like that be questioning stuff I'm still be saying on videos, I'd be like, nah, we're not gonna do that. These people didn't even think Crawford to make it at 147. Oh, all he did is beat Jeff Horn. Who's Jeff Horn? Mind you, Crawford is stopping everybody. And they talking about who is Jeff Horn? What they got to do with Crawford stopping him? So yeah, it's been the same story year after year. They trying to run off with the narratives. A lot of people gonna say, well, I don't think he'll get the knockout. Yeah, well, we already know that. Well, I know that. I know y'all don't think he'll get the win, knockout, anything. But yeah, this is old news though. That's why I really don't be posting about it. I've talked about this stuff so much. This fight is old, man. Been told y'all this fight was gonna happen. And they trying to do it in September. Been saying that already. That was so long ago. I don't even know when I even posted that video. Yeah, a lot of people didn't think this was gonna happen. Now we already have people talking about who would win or whatever. But we talking about as far as the fight actually happening. Yeah. They didn't think that was gonna happen. See, it's a difference. They was not only questioning Terence Crawford as far as taking the fight and being able to be big enough to actually be in the fight and win the fight. A lot of people was questioning whether Canelo should take the fight. Why should he? He shouldn't, and everything else. I'm making all these videos saying he should, and he needs a challenge. So it's a lot of narratives that people was going riding along with that go against everything about making this fight. It was a lot of narratives people was rolling with, especially to even when it come to Terence Crawford fighting at 47. Come on, man, 47. He ain't good enough to make it at 47. Like what? At a certain point, you gotta ask yourself, like, bro, how many fights do I gotta show these people of Terence Crawford before they realize that he a generational talent? Like, we just had people talking about he lost his last fight to Majramov. Like, what? Come on, man. What are we talking about? Like, ever since that conversation, when people were saying that, I'm like, it's a waste of time for me even talking about Terence Crawford and Canelo with anybody. We can't even have a good conversation about Majramov versus Crawford. That's definitely a real thing. But yeah, a lot of people was acting like Canelo was too good to fight at Terence Crawford. Oh, well, he's at 68 and told y'all the fight would happen. See, Canelo, he believe in himself more than his fans do. Because they went out of their way to sit up here and say something about Terence Crawford. They went out of their way. The narratives I heard, yeah, they didn't want Canelo to take the fight. They didn't want him to take the fight. And mind you, in cases with Terence Crawford, when people are talking about him taking the fight, they're talking about guys who's not on his level. In this case, we're talking about a guy who's #1 pound for pound. We talking about Canelo can go in there and face him and beat him. They didn't say that about Lomachenko and Rigondeaux. He was smaller than Loma. Yeah, I knew this fight was gonna happen. I tried to tell him. Tried to tell him. Everybody tried to walk around it last year. I said, yep. I'm just gonna sit back. I just been sitting back watching. As the weeks been going on, more and more people been talking about the fight. More and more. Can't run away from it, man. Can't run away from it. The fans ain't requesting no fights. The ones who are, they said they wanted to see Terence Crawford versus Canelo. Now, mind you, we have a group of fans that have not requested Canelo to fight anybody yet, but they don't want him to fight Terence Crawford. So that makes no sense going into the fight already. They don't have Benavidez on the list. You hear anybody right now saying Canelo versus Benavidez? I don't hear nobody yelling for it. See, they just going straight with what Canelo says. They ain't even got their own thoughts. They ain't like, man, I want to see the Canelo versus Benavidez fight. They out here like Canelo said he don't want to do it. He don't want to do it. Okay, said the same thing about Crawford. Guess what? What's going on now? So yeah, it's a section of people right now that's afraid of certain guys getting beat right now. Let's keep it. Let's be for real. It's a group of fans, a large group, majority, that's afraid of certain guys getting beat in certain matchups. They know it's that time right now in boxing. Put up or shut up. They know it's that time right now. Because you would think it'll be a large commotion going on, but I'm hearing people say that, you know, Crawford will get stopped or he'll get beat. I'm hearing people say that, but a guy who's never lost before versus a guy who has against a guy who has less knockout power. Against a guy with less knockout power. And there's a couple of secrets I know right now, but I ain't gonna let them out. I was gonna say one of them, but that would have been a huge one. Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of facts come out recently. But yeah, people they know what's going on right now when it comes to Terence Crawford. I see that everybody realize now, like, man, he's close to going out there beating Canelo, man. One wrong move, Canelo, he can go out there and lose. There's a lot of people starting to realize that now. It's starting to hit them. Like one wrong move. But I told people this fight was going to happen. Been saying it for years. This fight is going to happen. I've been trying to tell people. Terence Crawford, this was one of his last options. He wanted to fight Canelo, then get out of the game. This is one of the only fights I've been pushing for over the last couple of years. So when everybody was saying, "Oh, I don't want to see the fight with Crawford and Canelo," they was messing up the negotiations as far as the fight being made. See, last May, they was close to actually trying to make the fight last year. But when everybody started saying, "Oh, well, Crawford's too small," when all those narratives came out from the biggest and baddest boxing experts, when those narratives started getting pushed, that's when Canelo was like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna go with Munguia." Because you remember he had Benavidez and Crawford that he was thinking about. But then people start saying how Crawford was small, so he was like, "Oh, never mind, I'll just fight Munguia then." They ain't got no problem with that fight for some reason. So he was like, "I'll just fight him." That's when I knew then. I'm like, so when I was talking about he was close to fighting Terence Crawford, everybody was like, "Oh, you clickbait, man. You posting clickbait. Terence Crawford was never going to fight Canelo. He's too small." Man, you know how much I've been hearing that the last 2 years? Everybody been saying that. Everybody. This the only reason I'm going for Terence Crawford in this fight. Everybody acting like, "Oh yeah, I knew the fight was gonna happen." Yeah, no you didn't. Stop it. Stop it. No you didn't. They up here talking about size a couple of months ago. Size? I've never heard that before. I've never heard that. The way Pitbull almost fought Ryan, I know everybody ain't concerned about no size. They talking about size in a fight. Yeah, but Terence Crawford, everybody knows he's a threat. If we talking about size and everything, concerned about his size, nah. He's a threat. They know it. So it's gonna be a good fight. Even Canelo said it. He's man enough to admit that. That's what I'm saying, man. Sometimes you can't let the fans speak for these guys. Right now, Canelo is speaking for himself. He's telling everybody, "I want to fight Terence Crawford." These little scary fans I got, they don't speak for me. That's what he's saying. And a lot of these dudes got some scary fans. And your favorite fighter is finna expose you. When he start picking fights you said he shouldn't take. Super scary. Never seen nothing like this before in my life. Dudes out here shook. You don't want to knock out the pound for pound #1 fighter in the world because you're so concerned about his size. And come on, man. Canelo ain't knocking people out like that. He ain't punching people and they just going to sleep. Like, let's be real now. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if they watching the fights. I do not know if they be watching the fights. They be talking like these guys be hitting like Wilder for real. Like dudes just going to sleep off a punch. It sound good till you put them highlights up. That's what I noticed yesterday. I'm like, oh, a lot of this stuff be sounding good when you ain't watching the fight. It sounds amazing. They make some of these boxers sound like they're just like they're just putting guys to sleep. Getting a 50-50 fight, then they get to explaining. See, what y'all gonna realize is all these guys ain't cracking like that when they get into higher competition. All these guys ain't knocking people out like that in tough fights. And another thing is too, Canelo's been fighting what? He was fighting Callum Smith and Yildirim and Rocky Fielding and John Ryder. I don't know, as his competition gets younger, I guess it seems like less knockouts or something like that. No, I don't know how to explain that. Yeah, definitely don't know how to explain that. But yeah, just the narratives I seen around this fight last couple of years, that's what I'm saying. That's why I be looking at boxing fans now I'm like, nah. The stuff they've said to try to not make this fight happen, it's just exposed so much. Why would you not want to see this fight with Terence Crawford and Canelo? I can't explain that. Like the size thing, I tried to give that a chance. I'm like, first of all, never heard that before. So you gotta realize, when I've never heard somebody say something, boxing been around hundreds of years. You telling us we ain't never heard nobody say something about any kind of fight until Crawford fights Canelo? Yeah, dudes are shook. They out here shook. You out here shook. Bet the house on Canelo get a knockout. That's all I'm gonna say. Bet the house. Bet the house. Let's see where you be sleeping at. I told dudes to do that with Morrell last week. They lucky I ain't start talking no trash about that yet. I told them to bet the house on Morrell last week. Yeah, Canelo. I love this. Oh, I'm gonna respect Canelo though. I ain't gotta wait till everybody else stop respecting him and then be like, oh, I don't respect him no more. Nah. When they gonna stop respecting him, that's when I'm gonna start respecting him. Because him taking the fight, I knew he was gonna do it. So win or lose, I'm good with that. But he go out there and lose, they gonna be trying to trash him. And, you know, a lot of these people ain't real fans. We gonna test if he got real fans now. See, all this stuff starting to get real serious now. All the trolling, the years of trolling, it's been decades at this point. It feels like 2 decades. At this point, they done did so much, it feels like 2 decades. It's been a decade at least of trolling. So now everything these fans have said, it's on the line right now with this Crawford fight. So you done found every excuse not to fight Benavidez. Now you done ran into Crawford. You can't explain your way out of this one. And they know it's over. I hope Crawford go in there and get a knockout. Straight up. KO. And guess what? He going for it too. He going for a knockout. That's why the more y'all troll him, please, Canelo fans, troll Crawford so y'all can get him in rare form. And he go out there and do some Dragon Ball Z stuff. Because the way y'all troll Bivol whole situation, you see how they blew Bivol spot up. You see how they did with Bivol, so they have evil intentions behind what they do. So, yeah. Go out there and motivate Terence Crawford as best as y'all can, so he can go out there and get that knockout. I need that. That'll solidify me in the game. After that, my jersey in the Hall of Fame. That's it. When it comes to YouTube boxing, that fast. That's gonna be 2 years in the game. Terence Crawford do that, I'm in the Hall of Fame. That's why I was looking at some little pipsqueak last night talking about Jake Paul. Boy, I announced Jake Paul and Mike Tyson last time. I was like one of the first to announce that. Don't be out here trying to question me when I'm announcing fights. So if y'all ain't never seen me before, please do your history. Boy out here trying to question me last night about Jake Paul. Because I said something about Jake Paul and Canelo. I said something about Canelo and Crawford. And guess what? Look at the scoreboard. Don't question me about no announcing no fights on here. Yeah, like I said, as soon as Crawford get that knockout, my jersey in the Hall of Fame. I ain't got to do another video no more. The channel going to be solidified. I ain't got to post another video no more. I might just do lives after that. That's it. Crawford go out there and get the knockout over Canelo. I ain't got to post no more. That's it. It's a wrap for me. The rest of these guys, they can keep trying to prove whatever they got to. I ain't got to do nothing. Crawford get a knockout against Canelo. My jersey in the Hall of Fame. It's over. That's how serious it is right now. They gonna be like, man, who is this guy? He used to post all the time. He was talking about that Crawford and Canelo stuff a long time ago. I was posting every day, no clickbait. Let me tell you how slick I am with it too. I was posting every day about Canelo and Crawford when I first opened the channel. Then the last, year or so, I kind of slowed down. If y'all notice, I ain't been announcing no fights. It's already been put out there. I ain't been announcing nothing. See, everybody else, they trying to figure out what's going on. I already know what's going on. Crawford get that knockout over Canelo, my jersey going to the Hall of Fame. The win, anything. The way people been talking last year about these narratives, it's going to be a good year. When Christmas comes, yeah, I'm going to be super relaxed. They put so many narratives out. And then what if Canelo go out there and get knocked out by a guy they said who was too small? See, you did it to yourself. Sometimes you just got to let these guys talk. You did it to yourself. If he goes out there and get knocked out by a guy everybody said was too small, that's going to be on his fans. It's a wrap. I love what boxing is right now. Now everybody got to stand on everything they've been saying. They fans. We're going to see who got real fans out here. See, it's all right when guys is, getting passes for certain losses like they have been, but certain fights you can't get a pass for. Certain fights you can't get a pass for. All the hyping up people, those days is over with. Now guys got to have real fights. If you want to get paid. But they got to have real fights now. All the hyping up people and boxers, those days over with. Long gone. These guys fighting every week now. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, you ain't got no time to be building up no narratives these days. This ain't the year to do it. I see people trying to do it, but it's not the time to do it. See, that's why I was putting out all my videos last year, because I'm like, I'm just going to let these sit here because they're going to eventually happen. See, these people trying to react to everything. I ain't trying to react to nothing. Everything you're hearing now is old news. Canelo versus Crawford, old news. They didn't believe it was gonna happen. They was hoping it wouldn't happen. We've been talking about this fight. Old news. No clickbait. They was hoping Canelo wouldn't take this fight. Wishing and praying. I've seen it so many times. Everybody that brought up the fight was talking about how it ain't gonna happen. They did the same thing with Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. They call that clickbait. Yep. Everybody was in here. I know Aaron was in here. Shout out to Aaron. I know Aaron was in here. I know Alfonso Banks was in here. Shout out to Alfonso Banks. Boxing Realist was in here. We was talking about Canelo and Crawford long time ago. Matter of fact, when they first found my channel, which was a while ago, we was already talking about Canelo and Terence Crawford. That was old news. By the time Terence Crawford fought Munguia, by the time Canelo fought Munguia, that was old news. Super old. A lot of these people didn't even think he'll make it at 147. Like, let's be clear. Let these people tell history right. Boxing has been in such a bad light. These people are so bad at picking talent in boxing. They do not know what they're looking at in boxing. They don't know how to break down fights. These people have been saying for years, after watching Terence Crawford fight, that he is not good enough to fight at 147. Think about that. That's why when the man got this far in his career, at what, 36, however old he is, I'm like, why do they have this man trying to turn around and prove himself to fight Boots when none of y'all even believe he'll beat anybody at 47? So for me to believe that they think he'll beat Canelo, nah. A lot of people are scared that he'll beat Canelo. They're picking him out of fear. Because, most people, it don't explain how the amount of people that was saying how close the Majamar fight was and how bad he looked. Then all of a sudden we see a lot of people saying, well, he does have a chance. Yeah, man, they late to the party. They getting scared now. Because if he beats Canelo and they doubt him, it's going to be the worst thing that ever happened to them as far as picking a fight. See, now we in dangerous territory. It sounds cool when you just talking about the fight. But now that we're this close away from Terence Crawford fighting Canelo, and he can possibly beat him, if you're not on the right side of history, you're going to be looking bad. Not that you got to pick the right fight and everything else, but this is when talking trash about a fighter comes back and bites you. Very badly. He beats Canelo, it's going to be a wrap. I'm telling you. Nobody can open... Bro, them days of arguing about boxing is over. He go out there and beat Canelo. Because the way people have been talking over the years, talking about how trash he is, I done heard people say Teofimo and Ryan. A dude that y'all just said that would lose to Teofimo and Ryan Garcia. Y'all was really trying to have Terence Crawford just fight Teofimo and Ryan Garcia. So if he goes out there and beats Canelo, because I already know people been playing with his name, Kendrick Lamar. He do look like Kendrick Lamar. So he go out there and do the same thing he was doing in the Earl Spence fight. First thing I want everybody to do is apologize to Earl Spence, because he ain't gonna be the only one in a fight like that with Terence Crawford. And I might predict he might have a better chin in that fight than what Canelo gonna show, because he ain't gonna be able to take these shots. No, he ain't gonna be able to take those kind of shots. Getting older now, he gonna be able to move. He gotta move. Gotta move. I've seen them trying to age out one guy. They did that with Usyk and it didn't work. The other guy that was end up looking older. But yeah, I already told these people, man, Terence Crawford was up out of here. And what I said, Terence Crawford versus Canelo proves the fans and media avoided him. Bud exposing them. Said that last year. Is Terence Crawford the next opponent? Said that last year. Ain't no clickbait around here. They already knew what time it was, man. They was talking about Errol Spence fighting Terence Crawford, Canelo Alvarez. When I heard that, I was like, oh, okay. Said Errol Spence versus Canelo Alvarez. I'm like, shoot. If he lose, then Crawford should get a shot then. So after Crawford won, I'm like, yeah, he should get a shot at Canelo then. But I already knew people wasn't even thinking about that. Because once I heard them questioning if he was big enough for 54, which was still a question after August, just last August, that was still a question. That's what y'all gotta realize. Like, it's a whole bunch of weird stuff going on in boxing. But that was just a question just a minute ago. That's why I was like, bro, why am I even talking about boxing right now? Are we serious? We still talking about this dude big enough for 54? Like, psychologically trying to put him under Charlo. You know what I'm saying? They trying to psychologically, like, just put him under Charlo. Like, well, 54 too big. Charlo can handle it, but Crawford, he can't handle 54. Whatever Charlo can handle, Crawford can't handle it. He can't handle Canelo. Charlo can go 12 rounds, but he getting stopped. So I'm hearing a lot of that, like, people gauging off of that what Terence Crawford can do. Which they've been doing it already. They just won't get out of it, some people, that's what they doing. Been going on. They'll mention these other guys in big fights. See, it was nobody questioning Errol Spence fighting Canelo. That's why all this stuff right now is, we too deep in the game to be explaining anything right now. I'm looking at everybody weird. Because no way. When I heard Errol Spence and Canelo getting discussed, I'm like, I'm just thinking about it. I'm like, oh, I don't know. Because I'm like, I don't know if he could beat Crawford. And I was like, if Crawford can beat him, that means he can beat Canelo then. Not saying that in my mind, but I'm saying that should be how people look at it, because they were just looking at Errol Spence to go in there and compete with Canelo. I heard people talking about possibly stopping Canelo. So when we get a different winner of the fight, and he's like, nah, he shouldn't fight. And I'm just looking at it like, nah, that's crazy. That sounds crazy to me. And I know how good fighters are. I heard what Benavidez said recently about he thinks if anybody can do it, Terence Crawford can beat Canelo. I've been telling y'all. That's why when I was hearing Benavidez's dad say it, I was like, yeah, he just want Benavidez to get a fight, which he just doing his job. That's why I ain't even say nothing about it again. I was like, he just doing his job. But he know what time it is. He knows what time it is. The fans know. That's why a lot of them won't keep it 100, so you can't respect that. Can't respect it. But I told everybody, Terence Crawford is good, bro. He's one of the best ever, period. I've been saying it for years. Almost, for at least about 10 years. I've been telling my brother, hey man, Terence Crawford the one. My brother I was an Errol Spence fan before he was, but Then he was a super Earl Spence fan. Well, he still is, and I am too. But he was like, I see what you're saying about Terence Crawford though. So yeah, my brother know boxing more than most of these dudes. He seen Terence Crawford. He knows. We was talking about this years ago, long time ago. Trust me. All the stuff people just saying now, my brother was saying a while ago. I was like, okay, he knows exactly what I be saying. That. So yeah, I'm pretty sure he's rolling with Terence Crawford in this. I know he picked Terence Crawford against Spence, even though he likes Spence more. He just know boxing. But at this time right now, to be doubting Terence Crawford, I hope everybody doubts him. You know what I'm saying? So it can motivate him like they did before. Everybody doubted him last time against Earl Spence. Everybody was doubting him. Good. It's going to be even better when you shocked that he get a victory. But I see a lot of people picking him though. Motivate him. He needs some motivation. He don't need to, trust me. That's the wrong person to be trying to motivate right now. In this type of fight, the trolling and stuff, that's why I was laughing. When I seen the Kendrick Lamar thing, I was like, at this point, man, y'all better not make that fight. Don't make that fight. That's why I stopped saying anything. I was like, I just want to fight that. At this point, let me just quit talking about it. It's gonna happen. And what do you know? But I always respect Canelo though. I don't lie on him. So that's a perfect way to respect him. Don't lie on the guy. But he knows Terence Crawford's a great fighter though. Appreciate Canelo for actually making the sport better by fighting the best. One of the best. So he gets credit for that. That's why I'm not really going in on him. He definitely gets credit for that. And I knew that he was leaning towards that way. I've been telling people for months, Canelo's interested in him taking the fight. Everybody else isn't. These fans are weak. They don't want to see the best fight. That was before Turkey Out of Sheik even got involved. Canelo was talking about taking this fight. His fan, he the one who brought it up. A reporter asked him, and he brought it up. I said it during Charlo fight week. I made a video about it. I said, man, they asked Charlo and Canelo a lot of questions about Crawford. I said, they asked Canelo to fight Crawford. And he said he would. This was during Charlo fight week. So people wasn't even really paying attention to it. They didn't think about it. They wasn't like, until Crawford respond to it. That's why I'm saying, how is Canelo the face of boxing? And he sit up here and said he'll fight Terence Crawford and don't go viral. That's what I'm saying. These dudes don't be paying attention for real. Is it a marketing scheme or is dudes really the face of boxing? The man said he'll fight Crawford and nobody remembers it. Like, dang, bro. Y'all not even making him look like the face of boxing. You're making him look like he's a regular boxer. They remember everything else about what happened to Ryan and these other guys. But you mentioned something about Canelo, they're going to be like, oh, I ain't hear that. Dang, these guys are supposed to be the face of boxing. Y'all don't never know no details, though. It's the guys you don't like, you know everything about. For some reason. People know how good Terence Crawford look at this weight. And was he slower? And what round this happened? You ask them about their favorite fighter, Canelo, they don't know nothing. I'll never understand that. But I think the fight is gonna be a good fight, man. Hearing a lot of things about the fight. Like I said about that one card, the kind of being was, and Eubanks is gonna be on. A lot of these fights we've been talking about for months. F.A. job, and Bacoli, I was talking about for months already. So a lot of these fights we definitely been talking about. Definitely have. The way boxing is running right now is very good. It's smooth. They have the talent to do it, but you can tell like these fans, they don't agree with nothing that's going on. That's the bad part about it. That needs to be highlighted in history. These fans don't like none of the big fights that's going on. They waited all these years to have these big fights happening. And they acting all depressed. Benavidez win. People all quiet. I'm like, yeah, he won. Like, just, they mad that he won. Just a weird vibe in boxing right now. Very weird. Never seen anything like this. It's gonna be, maybe this needs to happen. Maybe the people that's not enjoying it, they'll leave after a while. Because they enjoy the narratives more than they enjoy the performances. They don't know what's going on in the fight. Whatever's being said, that's what they enjoying. But this Terence Crawford situation, yeah, it's gonna separate the men from the boys right now. You're gonna figure out who really know boxing right now. Well, y'all already starting to realize now. Appreciate everybody who's subscribing and liking and supporting too. I appreciate everybody out there. I be trying to do panels, man. People don't be clicking on the link. I'm gonna try to do the one tonight or later on if y'all want to do a panel. I'm trying to let y'all come on here and talk. I was just gonna sit back. But yeah, they separating the men from the boys right now. Like people been saying, like, you gotta realize guys ain't been getting prepared for these fights. Like you gotta prepare yourself for these type of fights. Even as a fan or somebody who break them down or whatever, you gotta prepare yourself. And a lot of people are not doing that. That's what I'm saying. When a lot of people get upset and beat, like what happened to Munguia, people ain't gonna know why. They don't know the answers. They ain't looked at what happened. Now you got people going back, looking at mistakes Munguia was making in the last couple of fights that they missed, that we was already talking about. This stuff be talked about, man. That's why I'm saying we really being here talking about certain fights and weaknesses and stuff. That's a real conversation about boxing. Instead of me being on here talking about Devin Haney and Young Thug or whatever, I was on here talking about why Munguia was losing all the rounds in that last fight he had before he got knocked out. Not the fight he got knocked out in, but the fight before that. I'm like, man, he was losing all the rounds in that fight. But you know, people not paying attention to it. That's why I said I don't know if they breaking down the fights like that. I don't know if they doing it. But yeah, this year is gonna separate a lot of people. February finna be a hectic month. After Benavidez and Bivol fight, you're gonna see a lot of people like, man, I ain't know so-and-so was gonna like this, or wow. Like after February ends, you gotta realize after this weekend, I already seen a lot of people, majority of people going with Figueroa, thinking that Stephen Fulton was a bum because he lost to Inouye. Huge mistake going into the 2025. That's a huge mistake going into 2025. I mean, a huge mistake. A lot of people was going against Benavidez. Huge mistake. That's why I said it's gonna be a long year for a lot of people. The guys they've been saying ain't that good, it's not gonna go that way. Especially with Terence Crawford. That's why I said when Terence Crawford get this knockout by, if he goes out there and knocks out Canelo, it's gonna be a wrap. Everything people been talking about gonna go away. You gotta start over. Hit the reset button. Erase. When dudes be saying, I know what I'm talking about. No, you don't. No, you don't. You do not know what you're talking about. It's all right to say, a guy's not that good. You know what I'm saying? He ain't that good. Not mad at people who said Terence Crawford ain't that good or he ain't better than Spence. Not mad about that. So if anybody thinks that, you're mistaken. I'm talking about people that's talking about he wasn't good enough for 47. Josh Taylor beat him. I'm talking about all that stuff. Like, bro, you reaching in. Like, for real. Reaching. He ain't good enough for 54. He ain't big enough to fight Charlo. Extreme stuff. It's just 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, really. Man, it's recently. How about that? That's when it was, recently. So yeah, I hope he goes out there and shut it down, man. We need to reset this whole boxing game. Everybody think certain dudes can't get touched out here or dropped or KO, the size matter. Yeah. Terence Crawford needs to go out there and shut it down, man. He get this victory, he'll be the best ever. Period. Talk about Canelo? Yeah, he'll be the best. He'll be the best. That's the end of the story. He will be the best. That's why they said something about that size stuff. Trust me, if I was a super Canelo diehard fan, I would be happy for them to go in there. And I thought that he would win against Terence Crawford. I would be happy to go in there. I'll be like, yeah, beat him. You know how much credit Canelo would get for beating Terence Crawford? Come on, man, stop it. Look how much credit Canelo get for beating Charlo. That man would get a lot of credit for that. But yeah, I told these people this fight was gonna happen. A lot of people was talking about whether who's gonna win or whatever. That's cool. Told y'all this was gonna happen. So for anybody who got a question about when I'm announcing fights, bro, chill. Trust me, I got this. Somebody got mad because I posted one little Jake Paul and Canelo video. Bro, y'all did the same thing when I posted these videos about Canelo and Crawford. That's why I had to post these dates up and these views and let everybody know I've been posting these up. This ain't nothing new. It's old. Canelo or retire. I'm talking about this about 2 years ago, man. It's old news. They don't understand that. Cause I know the other channels out here ain't announcing every fight, right? I've been watching these guys over the years. They ain't announcing nothing. They announce the fight when it happens. I don't know what you talking about. Boy, you out here tripping. Yeah, these folks don't be announcing no fights is gonna happen. They were just talking about Anthony Joshua and Fury. I didn't change that fight again. How many times they gonna announce that fight? Jeez. He said, we'll see. What about Canelo? Man, y'all done already lost. Y'all already said Canelo wasn't gonna get in the ring with him. Now y'all trying to win another argument. I don't know if you know it or not, Max, but most of you fans already lost the argument. Y'all been arguing about if he big enough. I don't know why y'all made that such a big deal. That's why I'm confused about now. Like, is Terence Crawford big enough for Canelo? Like, y'all finna get this dude embarrassed. Y'all don't know if he's big enough for Canelo. Finna get this guy embarrassed. I thought after the Spence fight, y'all would've did your research. These dudes ain't studying no boxing. They going off of straight feelings. They going off straight feelings. They don't know what somebody did in their last fight. And the worst part about it all is if Canelo go out there and get beat down after Terence Crawford had that performance against Madrimal, that'll be the worst part about it all. People have been talking so bad. You seen the backhanded compliments? It wasn't even no compliments. They was just disrespecting this man after the Madrimal fight. If he goes out there and beats this guy, Canelo's whole career is on the line right now because of you fans. If y'all wasn't around talking like this, he wouldn't have no pressure on him right now. Wouldn't nobody care if Canelo go out there and lose or win? But y'all want to make it such a back and forth. And now all the pressure on him. You'll find out. I'll just say this. The last couple of times y'all been picking against Terence Crawford, you've been losing. So you might want to rethink or sit this one out. Yeah, while everybody's sitting around talking about, yeah, man, he gonna win. They scared as heck right now this fight happened. A lot of people waiting on it to say, nah, they ain't gonna fight. They're gonna cancel it. A lot of people was waiting on Canelo to shoot the reports down. When Canelo went to that Ring magazine and put that picture out of Turkey out of sheet, man, there was a lot of dudes crying that weekend, man. I'm being real with y'all. I'm not trolling. It was a lot of dudes crying. That was one of the most hated videos I've ever gotten. Or the comments, as far as the comments. I was like, man. I was like, yeah, Turkey Al-Sheikh is fighting Canelo. Dudes was crying. Telling you. Being real. That's what I'm saying. Mayweather ain't have fans like this. See, even today, man, Mayweather was undefeated, and you don't got dudes running around talking about Mayweather beat this guy. He'll beat everybody. Like, we don't got extreme fans like that. The fans that Canelo got, it's not the same. It's worse. Y'all treating this dude like he beat Floyd. It's worse. That's why a lot of people be like, man, I want to see him lose. And right now, I'm just on that this year. I'm on that this year. That's what I'm on. I feel like for boxing, we need to see this happen. We need to see this happen. I already seen y'all doubt Benavidez. Let's strike one. Move on to the next. Tired of people trying to indirectly save this guy. Y'all say y'all want to see the best, then with Canelo whole career on the line, now everybody want to shaking their boots like, oh, I'm scared. Then they've been using all these narratives a whole year. To be honest with you, look, the fans are the ones who done put Canelo in a bad spot in this fight. He hasn't said anything. So it ain't like it's his fault. He was the one showing Crawford respect before he even fought Errol Spence. So he knew what time it was. Man, Canelo know how to break down these fighters. He knew what time it was. But that just goes to show that's why I say when people be like, oh, why you be talking about boxing the way you do? Because it ain't Canelo's fault that the fight took this long to get made. It's the fans. I've been saying this for a while now. The only people who are getting this fight right now are the people who been asking for the fight. A lot of fans have not been asking for this fight. They don't care. Like me personally, I was like, I like Terence Crawford. You know, he's my favorite fighter. But I wouldn't mind seeing Benavidez Canelo first. Because that was the fight we was already thinking about. But you got people that's not even thinking about the Benavidez fight no more. Then they complaining about Terence Crawford fight. Like, who you want this dude to fight? If he gonna be the face of boxing, he need to be facing somebody. Like, this dude the face of boxing, and people like, well, I don't know who he want to fight. Well, he ain't the face of boxing, man. Figure it out. I ain't got time to be making no stars in boxing. That's what's going. A lot of that going on right now. They trying to make a lot of stars, and dudes like Terence Crawford got to fight the whole world. Which is crazy to me. But yeah, it's that time now. So all the narratives people gonna say about Crawford getting slapped or KO'd, I don't mind those now. I had thought about it. I was like, yeah, I don't mind those. I'm actually kind of mad people starting to pick him now. I'm like, oh, y'all wait till the 12th hour to start picking this dude? The last mile. Last couple of meters, they want to now try to jump on the bandwagon. I ain't seen none of these dudes defending the little narrative as far as, going against the narrative that Crawford was too small. But now all of a sudden you okay with the fight happening. Yeah, because you know what time it is. And you know that Canelo want the fight too. Ain't nobody forcing him or nothing. People try to make him seem like he had some kind of problem with Turkey Al-Sheikh. None of that was true. All that stuff wasn't true, man. Like, that's what I'm saying. All this junk they pushing in boxing, all this junk food, ain't none of this stuff healthy for you. I can't think of not one narrative they pushed last year that was popular that came true. None of it. I can't think of not one narrative at all. Talking about this man was ducking. Oh, Crawford ducking Jerron Ennis to go fight Canelo. So we have people out here, and this ain't no disrespect to Jerron Ennis. I'm just saying, we have people out here saying that Crawford was ducking Jerron Ennis to fight Canelo, and they said it was for a payday. With them dudes been getting paid to fight Canelo, ain't no payday to him. Let's just get that understood. He can fight his hometown and get that. Yeah, that ain't no payday. Shoot, Crawford one of the only boxers to fight on every platform. Every platform. I repeat, every platform. This man has fought on every platform in boxing. Definition of wanting to smoke. You know how crazy it is to doubt a fighter who fought on every platform? And having his toughest fight at his oldest age that he's fought somebody. At the end of his career, his toughest fight. Yeah, dude, go out there and get a KO, man. He gonna be the best ever. Ain't no question about it. That's why I like the way things going right now. Everything people been saying in the past, it ain't gonna matter. Everything. People saying Benavidez was ducking Morrell. It don't matter no more, do it. So shout out to everybody who wanted me to talk about that over the years. It don't matter. Now y'all see why I said it ain't no reason to ever talk about Benavidez ducking the Morrell. That's a waste of time talking about. Oh, you must be a Benavidez fan then. I wonder how many videos y'all gonna see about people saying Benavidez ducking Morrell after this weekend. They gonna always be late to the party, man. I'm starting to realize that. Especially when it comes to Canelo and Crawford. Like I said, man, everybody been doubting Crawford over the years. It's just gonna make for a beautiful story in boxing. If the man goes out there and KOs Canelo, it's over. It's over. Nothing they can do about it. And I'm here for it. I would love to see Crawford go out there and get a knockout, man. This is a person they said can't get it done, and he gonna get it done. He's definitely gonna get it done. Yeah, man, I love what boxing going right now. It's that time now. It's that time now. That's why you don't see the same kind of videos you were seeing last year. It's kind of sad though, to be honest with you, because you know, I don't know people who put boxing news out personally, but when I see people put out certain boxing news and then the next year none of it comes true, but the fans just eat it up. And then also, when other things just happen, it's like, man, make you look at the sport kind of different. It really does. Cause I told people for a while now, man, Terence Crawford he's one of those guys, man. He's one of the best. If he was like these other fighters, he would have just been sitting in the same weight class, staying at 147. You gotta think about it. At the age Crawford's at right now, Loma ain't moving up no more. You know, they say stuff about Loma being pound for pound, whatever, but Loma ain't fighting at 140. You know, a lot of these guys don't move up like that. A lot of these guys is limited. They pound for pound until you get to a certain pound. Then they got to pick certain fighters. They ain't fighting mandatories. Ain't nobody trying to hear that. But ever since last year when I heard people saying Terence Crawford was ducking Jerron Ennis, I knew right then. My only question around that time was, do y'all think that Jerron Ennis can beat Canelo? Because right now, Crawford talking about fighting Canelo and y'all talking about Jerron Ennis. So if Jerron Ennis can step in Crawford's place and fight Canelo, yeah, Crawford should fight him. But nobody thought he could, so at the end of the day, that conversation was over at that point for me. It wasn't a real conversation. So the man definitely has a lot of doubters out there still, from what I've seen, for reasons that don't have nothing to do with boxing. You can break down as many fights as you want. But at certain points, people gonna believe what they want to believe. Even when a guy lose, they still gonna believe it. I heard now it's about selling tickets with Terence Crawford. They don't care about what's going on inside the ring. Only thing I heard about his last fight was he ain't sell that much, and the fight went 12 rounds. You know, just pathetic stuff. Stuff that nobody else gets questioned about. That's how low boxing has gotten now. Very low. That ain't nothing but a cheap shot. And they try to do it slick as far as like, well, we just reporting boxing in the news or whatever. No, you're not. And it makes boxing look bad because it shows a lot of these fans don't really care about big fights. That card that Crawford was on last year was one of the biggest cards of the year. And people complained about it. So a fight with him and Canelo get made, that ain't gonna change anything. And I told these people this fight gonna happen. That's why I've been sitting back just waiting, preparing. I haven't been talking about it every day or whatever because, you know, I've been talking about it for years already. I just been sitting back waiting for the fight to get made. While everybody else was sitting around arguing about size and who's big enough. Straight trolls. Size and who's big. That's why I said recently, like, why the diehard boxing fans are repeating the same thing casuals are saying. You had dudes that been watching boxing 40 years talking about some size because the casual said something. I mean, peer pressure is something else these days, man. You got guys who been watching boxing 40 years agreeing with a guy who been watching boxing 2 weeks. And only watches highlights. Yeah, so that's crazy to me. Very crazy. But shout out to Canelo for, you know, doing what I know he would do. I knew Canelo wasn't scared to jump in the ring with Terence Crawford. It's just the people around him is terrified. I'm talking about very afraid. Never seen anything like this before. The size is a big deal now. It's a big deal. But yeah, Terence Crawford get this knockout, it's over with. Over. Everything I've said over the last, almost 2 years, it's gonna become true, man. It's gonna become true. And I told people this fight was gonna happen, so that's why when people say, oh, this fight gonna happen, or you're just posting this, bruh, I told you Crawford and Canelo was gonna happen. I don't need to be questioned about any fights happening ever again. I'm solidified. So if anybody got any further questions, the fights don't get bigger than that. I'm always announcing a big fight. So that's no question no more. Most of these fans, the ones that didn't think the fight would happen. That's why I'm like, Canelo finna expose these dudes. I think that's what I said when he took the picture with Turkey. I already knew he was gonna fight Crawford before that, though. Way before that. Way before that. But yeah, they know what time it is now. Man, I love boxing. You can't hide in boxing, man. These little narratives people try to push, you can't hide in boxing. You can't run from it. The best is gonna rise to the top. The cream always rises to the top. That's it. Always. Always happens, especially in boxing. That's why I ain't changed what I said. When people were talking about Crawford's too small and his resume and not being big at 47, yeah. Then as I'm seeing these chess pieces fall, he's not really fighting certain people. I'm like, oh yeah, he gonna fight Crawford. The demand was too high. The demand was too high. Then the man fought Charlo. That's what really messed everything up for him. He messed around and fought Charlo at 54, being greedy, trying to get another world champion on his resume. So he fought Charlo at 54. You know, if he wouldn't have did that, you could have had a case of, nah, Terence Crawford don't need to fight nobody. Canelo ain't fought no 54s or nothing. But after he fought Charlo, you had no case no more. That's what I'm saying. A lot of people tried to run with that narrative, but nah, that was over with. And now people run around talking about, oh, he needs to fight Charlo. That should have been happening years ago. That's what I'm saying, man. A lot of people, they done wasted so many years talking about guys ain't ready. Now they want to see certain fights. We need to get certain people out of boxing. I'm just being real with y'all. At this point now, they've done this generation. These guys who report on boxing, especially in the media, oh man. The fans, they're bad, but especially in the media. Because I see they do it on purpose now. Got to get these guys out of boxing. ASAP. Got to get them out of boxing. Terence Crawford was talking about Charlo 2 or 3 years ago. Before that, but I'm talking about really calling them out aggressively. Three or 4 years ago. Worry about Earl Spitz. Worry about Earl Spitz. And then Crawford told him after he knocked Earl Spitz down in the ring, you next. He told him, you next. And Charlo ain't say nothing. So yeah, man, dude's been fighting the best. People gonna look crazy. You don't get no cool points for doubting the best. That ain't what we doing these days. They letting y'all off the hook these days. They letting all these guys off the hook these days. Boy, y'all been hyping Canelo up like he unbeatable. Woo, he go out there and lose. Man, by knockout. It's gonna be time to shut it down, man. It ain't gonna be no reason for a lot of people to be in boxing no more after that. If you want to be real about it. Canelo get knocked out by Terence Crawford. Dudes ain't recovering boxing no more. It's gonna be a larger group of people that can't cover boxing no more. What you gonna do? Talk about how Canelo got KO'd by Terence Crawford for the next 6 months? And if you don't do it, you're gonna look like an even bigger sucker. Which most of these dudes will do. Or you can let the fight be close and hope it's a rematch. And the crazy part is, I think they have a rematch in the clause. So yeah. Might be a career ender for a couple of guys out here in 2025. And I'm waiting for it. Oh yeah, appreciate my dog Aaron out there too. Oh, let me see. Yeah, man. Boston getting back to where it needs to be. This where it needs to be at. all the running around that's been going on the last couple of years, that's what people used to. They're not used to all this, you know, when certain fights get made and big fights too.